In this Navigating the Course video, we're going to look at how the lessons are set up. I will also show you where to find the instructions for installing the Proctorio extension, which is what you'll use for proctoring your quizzes and exams. So let's get started. Okay, from our course homepage, you can navigate to the lessons through the lessons link on the left-hand side. Right now, we have the chemistry and measurements lesson available to you. Usually you will have 2 weeks lessons, so the week you are working on and the following week's lessons available to you, so you can work ahead if you would like to do so. We'll click on the chemistry and measurements lesson so I can show you how each lesson is set up. At the top, there's going to be a description of what you're supposed to learn from that particular lesson and some objectives. These are always good to read through before you get started. That way you know what you're trying to learn from the material that is covered in the lesson. Each lesson will also have instructions listed out that will go through step by step all the different parts of the lesson and the things that you need to do. Remember that all of the assignments, quizzes, and all of that are listed out in your course organizer calendar. So also refer back to that to make sure that you have done all the assignments for that particular week. So one of the assignments for this is an introduction discussion board. And so you can get to that discussion board by just clicking on the title here. I'm not going to do that, but that would be how you would do that. And in this discussion board for this particular assignment, you're just going to introduce yourself to your classmates. So it tells you how to do that and what you need to include in your discussion. So there are a few discussion board assignments throughout the semester. Each of them will clearly tell you what you need to include in your discussion boards. This particular lesson has a document that goes over a little bit of the material that you're going to cover. I won't read through it, but you'll click on that and you can, for this particular one, it looks at the metric system and significant figures. So it gives you some information. Just read through it, make sure you understand it. When you're ready to go to the next part, you can click back up at the top to get you back to the lesson. Scroll back down. This next one, conversion factors and density, is going to open up a PowerPoint presentation of the lesson material. So here we go on this. It will open up in this mode. You really want to watch it as a presentation mode, and the reason that is because it will go through and allow you to work through the material as you do it. And so the PowerPoints are not designed for you just to simply read them. Some of it is reading, but you need to be actively participating. So every time you are working through a PowerPoint for a lesson, make sure that you have a pencil and paper that you can take notes and a calculator, because you're going to be solving, it'll be asking you to solve problems through there, and you will get more out of it if you are actively involved in taking notes and in solving the problems and not just passively reading the material. You won't get much out of it. This is talking about conversion factors. And then for this particular slide that we have, it's going to ask you a question or ask you to do something. So this is where you would write down the answer on a piece of paper and then click to the next one and check to see if you got your answer right or not. So the PowerPoints are designed for you to watch them in presenter mode, and they are designed for you to work through them, not just read them. We'll go back to the course, go back to that lesson, and okay, each chapter is also going to have a reading guide, and so these reading guides are designed to just help you get the most out of your textbook as you read through it. They are Word documents, and they will give you some definitions you need to know. This one gives you a few things that you need to know the definitions for, just so that you have understand the language that we are using in chemistry and that the language doesn't confuse you. It's important to know the definitions. there are going to be a few things that you're going to memorize, and so I will have those things listed on these reading guides as well. Sometimes I may have questions for you to answer as you go through the textbook. It's all so that you design so that you have a more active role when you are reading through the textbook, because really you should not be just reading through the textbook. You should be working through the textbook, working sample problems, writing down notes, writing down definitions, learning as you go along. Okay, back to the lesson. Some lessons will include what I have called tutorial worksheets, and they are just extra practice or extra instruction on different topics, usually more math-based topics, and they have step-by-step guided on how to solve the problem. It gives you practice problems, and then there is an answer key for you to download and check your answers. These work best if you print them out. So this particular lesson has one on scientific notation and significant figures. So if you need a little extra practice on that, it may be good to print them out. If you don't have access to a printer, you can just write the problems down on paper and pencil as you go through it on the computer. And then it has a worked out answer key to that, so you can check your answers. These are not assignments. You do not have to turn them in. They are just extra practice and extra instruction for you to really understand some of the key concepts throughout the course. And then below that, at the end of each lesson, is going to be a link to Mastering Chemistry where you can access the online homework. I'm not going to go through that. There's another Navigating the Course video that will show you how to access Mastering Chemistry and how to use it a little bit. One other thing I wanted to touch on is Proctorio. As I have mentioned, you're going to be using Proctorio as a online proctoring system for your quizzes and tests. And so if you go to the menu on the left, right underneath that course organizer calendar is a Proctorio setup link. And so you can click on that link and then click on that guide, and it will guide you through how to install the Proctorio extension. And you need to use Google Chrome as your browser, and then have that extension downloaded into Google Chrome. And that guide will walk you through all of the process on how to do that. If you have any questions over any of this, please let me know. Otherwise, that is it for how the lessons are set up.